Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to today's show. And I'm looking like this today. I've got my elephant mug today. Well, it's not mine, but it's an elephant mug. What mug are you sporting today? I would love to know. So here we are for probably up to an hour of photo chat. Last week we looked at the theme of red. It was amazing. So many people sent in photographs with red things. This week was a little bit more difficult because it was more personal. Anyone's got photos of red, right? But not everyone can immediately find something which really means something to them emotionally and take a picture they're happy with. And some of you did it, so no problem there. By the way, say hello in the chat, and and let's get going. So the plan for today is look at your photographs of things which mean something to you. I call them special items. After that, I will pick one or two which are my favorites, and or that I particularly liked, although I must admit I like everybody's. And I would like you also to help me choose a new theme starting now. So I put a little quiz, not a quiz, a poll in the group, and I'd love you to just click on one of those buttons. I'll show you that in a second. And finally, I'm going to do what I forgot to do last week, show you some of my photographs. After all, I take a photograph of Paris every single day, or I publish it, and I have been doing for more than 5 years now. And if you go back in time, I've had other periods where I've taken photographs every day and written about Paris. It's kind of an obsession. So I will show you what I've been up to in the last little while. And I'm pretty excited about it. Can you imagine? This current project has lasted for over 5 years, and I'm as excited to publish today's photograph as the very first day, more so actually. So one of the things I recommend to people is create something every day. It's kind of scary because you look back and pretty soon you realize that time is going. But the amazing thing is you've got something to remember each day by if you create every day. I know that everyone can't create every day, so my second level of creativity is creating something every week, because it could be every Sunday, every Wednesday afternoon. Any less than that, you've got to ask yourself, are you really creating as much as you could? I've got a couple of comments, and I've got a comment from Dorothy. Hello, Dorothy. And I've got a Facebook user comment, so that means you maybe have to go to 𝗦𝗡𝗢𝗏.com/Facebook and just say yes. Yes, I can see your name. Okay, so check that out. Okay, so hello, and let's have a look at some photographs. All right, I'm just going to go through the group as usual and try not to forget anybody. This is my latest one. It's the last one I'll post in this theme. I think I posted 2, and on my finger you can see a ring, and this ring is particularly important for me. It's the most important ring I have, and it's well, to be honest, it's in the group, and there's a poem that I wrote 25 years ago. And the poem is called From Mother to Son to Mum. So I won't go into any details. You can read the poem if you like. And it's scary because that was 25 years ago. Can you imagine? I wrote that 25 years ago. Okay, so let's chug on. There it is, a special item. Okay. So I think the first person to contribute was Jean. And this is lovely and it's very touching as well. What happens if I click there? Yeah. Come on, you can do this. I just want to see this bigger. There you go. So Jean says, I'm not sure how well this will show up. Came out okay on my end. 2 photos of a card that I merged and cropped. Special card I received from a dear high school friend. Been on her dresser for many years, and she battled with cancer for over a decade. So it's a very touching photograph. Thank you for sharing that, Jean. By the way, say hello, Jean, because I haven't seen your name yet, and I know that you wanted to watch this. Jean has got something that I might have. I'm wondering if I've got COVID. So crossing my fingers that I haven't, but if I have, I've got 2 or 3 of the symptoms, but at the moment I'm okay. So we will see. And she's merged a picture with I'm not sure if it's a poem or something, but then there's a lovely note at the end. So that's beautiful. Thank you. How do I get out of here? Chugging down. I'm not sure. This is Nazanin. She says 2 items for sale. It's asking me if I want to leave the page each time I try to make the photograph. That's very cute. So I'm guessing that these are 2 friends who are very important for you, Nazanin. Is that right? Let me know in the comments if you're watching, or even afterwards. And then this one is particularly interesting because I think maybe we all have a small or big collection of, let's see if I can make that bigger without it asking me each time. We have a small or big collection of old phones. Right, so what's this? There you go. Wow, that is impressive. So this is Nazanin's daughter, who has been collecting generations of phones. Probably she said to everyone, okay, when you finish with your phone, give it to me. And that's a pretty, probably you can spot your old phone or one of your first phones in that collection. The one that I like most isn't actually in here. It was a Motorola, and you can actually open it up, and I was very pleased with that. I found a meme which shows you that. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see this. Yeah, there it is. It says, "You smartphones think you're so great, huh? But can you do this?" And I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that. Yeah, I was so excited when I could flip open my phone with my thumb. You know, it's a bit like the cowboy opening his Zippo lighter. Really cool. So that was my stab at being a cool cowboy. What else have we got? I want to make sure not to miss any more here. I'm pretty cool at missing them. Okay, that's about it. All right. Moving on down. This is from Dorothy, a late contender. She says, "This clock has been with me for more than 35 years. I have traditional 𝗚𝗛𝗢𝗏 paintings from a Swedish village. I'm happy to have it on the wall here in France, as I'm used to looking at it. And I've been missing it," I think is what you're saying there. Yeah, clocks are wonderful. They're wonderful things for photographs. And I've often incorporated clocks into my photographs. In fact, I once did one of my grids of 3x3 photographs with 9 Paris clocks. And you've played around with it on the left there. I'm guessing that on the right it's the original, and on the left you've Dorothyized it, and it's pretty cool. Now this, let me show you, is for this week's theme, so the week coming. So I took 3 suggestions from people and put them here. You know, too many suggestions can kill your ability to choose. So there's 3: birds, windows, or wheels. What's it going to be? And I can tell you that wheels is way ahead. I think it was Jean's suggestion. Thank you, Jean. And can't wait to see. You know, wheels is a great theme. It doesn't have to be on cars or bikes, but it can be, and you can get some amazing shots. I'll give you one tip though to make wheels impressive. It's a similar tip to making vehicles of any sort impressive. For goodness sake, don't take them from a distance away, because it ends up being some boring picture of a car. You've got to get in really close. For example, in Paris we have hire bikes, and they line up in rows along, you know, in their sort of special parking place. And if you get down low to one of the wheels, you can see a whole range of wheels going off into the distance, and it's pretty cool. So that's an idea for you. All right, what else have we got here? This was me asking, you know, I normally can choose, and I have this rule: I never publish 2 photographs which are more or less the same. And I recommend others don't do that as well, you know, because otherwise you'll have my granddad syndrome, where he would show me about 70 photographs of hills that he saw when in Switzerland or something. And, you know, after about the first 7, you've kind of got the idea of what a hill or a mountain in Sweden looks like, or Switzerland. So I'm pretty strict on that, but it's darn hard. Because, for example, here I fell in love with all of these photographs. And, you know, what do you do? I love this one. Stay on page. This is a new thing. Normally you could click and it just made the photograph bigger. And in this case, oh, there you go. Okay, so there was this one. There was this one. I mean, obviously, I just took the photograph. That it was an app, you know, a sabification app that is making it look funky. But still, you've got to choose. And I was surprised. Not too many people chose the black and white one. whereas I do find it striking. But then again, I didn't choose the black and white one either. So there's something about it. I'm either in love with color too much to go black and white because I think I'm losing out on something, or I don't know what it is, but because black and white is so striking. This is such a striking shot, and yet I didn't go with it. But having said that, I've still got the photograph, and you can do something like put them together as a grid of 4 like I did, and you can still show them to people, but not like, and here's another one, and here's another one. By the way, what is this blob on the bottom left? Do you have an idea? Well, it's a kamikaze pigeon. I can't even work out what is what. I think it looks like one of those rockets in Facebook icons. I think its head is bottom left. I think that's its beak with its feathers behind it and its legs sort of trailing behind. It really does look like a rocket. And it's decided to commit suicide and jump off this because it was bored waiting for me to take the shot. But I was bored waiting for it to jump off so that I could get a shot of it jumping off. So sometimes you just got to have patience. Talking of which, there's a photograph that I took very recently, which required a lot of patience. Let me flip over to it. Okay, it's not this. This is my current under progress chapter, and the chapter before it is this one here. By the way, say hello. I would love you to comment. So let me know which photographs you like so far. Whose memory photographs, and we're not finished, whose memory photographs, whose special item photos do you particularly like and why? What does it touch you in you? And you know, you can still do it if you haven't contributed yet. Go for it. You know, not closing the competition. You can just you can contribute next week. It doesn't matter. So having a look at this, can you see which one I'm going to talk about in terms of birds? I joke, I pretend that I've got a lot of feathered friends in Paris, and you know, maybe I have. This is the photograph I'm talking about. How do you think I got this photograph? Where do you think the bird was 1 second before I took the shot? Well, it was sitting on top of the lamppost, and I was waiting and waiting and waiting. And most people would get bored, I guess. Most people wouldn't probably even want to take this photograph, I don't know. And yet, look at that bird, look how magnificent it is. It's a seagull. I said only a seagull. I mean, wow, you know, I'd like to be a seagull for what they can do. It's absolutely superb. Look at the wingspan, the beauty, the grace, and it's absolutely in the top right-hand corner where I wanted it. Filling in that top right-hand corner with life. Otherwise, it's a lifeless photograph. There's nothing. You know, there's a clock, there's a modern building, there's a couple of lampposts. That's all well and good, but where is the soul, the heart, I was going to say the humanity, but where is the life? Well, there it is, my pigeon friend. And if you want to read the text, I actually imagined a little story about the pigeon, who is possibly a future character in my coming some century soon stories of animals who live in Paris. Each animal lives in a famous monument or a famous place, and in each story the animal, which is the star of the story, changes, but they know each other. So you know, you might have do you know where this is, by the way? This is a Gare de Lyon, and I call this clock Petit Pierre because well, London's got Big Ben, so I thought Paris could have Little Peter. And also someone said to me, it's made of stone too, because Pierre means stone as well as Peter. Anyway, so there you go. So, you know, go the extra mile when you've got birds. And I think one of our themes in the future is going to be birds. When you've got birds, try to make use of them. It's movement, it's life. And photographs without them can be a little bit boring. So let's go back to where I was. Where was I? Not there. Feel free in the group to post variations and ask which one people like. You know, that'd be great, actually. You know, because we do play around with apps, and I sabify things, and Dorothy-fies things, and Bear-fies things. And well, use the group to see what everyone thinks. That might tip the balance. I personally sometimes ask people, which is your favorite? Or out of these two, which do you prefer? And I go with that because that means that I've included somebody else in the creative process. If I know that when I look at every single photograph, and now today I published number 1869, I think. That's a lot. I can look at every single photograph and it's got a story. So if someone has chosen, for example, this one in the top right, as opposed to this one on the top left, they have become part of the story of that photograph. And that's everything for me. For me, it's not really about photography. It's about an exchange of emotion between me and the person who receives some sort of emotion by the channel of, in this case, an image. You know, it could be a song, although you wouldn't want it to be a song from me, or a text or a poem. So there you go. What else have we got here? This is from Beatrice, and she says, now let me make this bigger. It's a very sweet photograph. She says, here are the items I've chosen. On the picture, there are two aspects of my life, not the washing with the clothespins, love and creativity. I did the little face when I was a teenager, and I was very proud of this. It reminds me of the Agamemnon mask. Now, I've got very deep, profound culture, and I know that Agamemnon, I know who he was because he was in the film Troy with Brad Pitt. So, you know, you're dealing with deep knowledge here. And she says these items are very important to me and always with me. So that's great. I love the idea of putting special items on a clothesline as a decoration in the home. It's really cool and really cute. And I'm kind of guessing that that's her daughter in the middle. Very cute. Beautiful photograph. What else have we got? This is me. This is something that came to me pretty spontaneously. I was standing in my room thinking about the challenge, and in front of me were these three little books, these cute little books of that I had from when I was a boy. I would go outside and look at trees and try and identify them in the local park and wildflowers and things. Not so much birds. I was never been very good with birds. I know they've got feathers, but apart from that, I'm not much of an expert. And I interleave them with these little animals, and these little animals, little china animals. I looked on the back of them, and they're called Wade China or Wade Ceramics or something. And I got them in my stocking as a kid. Now, stocking is kind of a Scottish word for the big sock you put on the end of your bed in some traditions. My tradition is Scottish, and it was a kilt stocking, like the big sock that went right up to your knee. And my poor dad, I don't know how year after year he agreed to it, because his kilt stockings got absolutely stuffed with presents, totally out of shape, but he never said anything. And I would find these in the toe or near the toe of the stocking on Christmas morning, these little china animals, and I absolutely love them. I haven't got them all. I don't know where they've all gone. I had a squirrel, I had a fox, I think, but I've still got this cute little hedgehog and this cute little tortoise. So they weren't like that. I made this, so it's a composition as such. The books were in that position. I sort of put the animals in, and the book underneath wasn't very interesting, so I exchanged it for, you know who, Winnie the Pooh, who was read to me by my parents as a little boy. So that's very, very important for me. I don't know if you know, but a writer used Winnie the Pooh and Piglet to illustrate profound and fundamental aspects of Taoism. The Tao of Pooh and the Tao of Piglet. So you might want to check those out. It's pretty good. It's a bit like books that we have in France, which are something like Living Like a Cat. And basically everything cats do is just perfect. They don't mess around. If they want food, they tell you the way they want food. If they want to sleep, they sleep. If they're angry, they will get their claws out. There's no sort of premeditation. Well, there might be for chasing a mouse or something, but they just they don't have any sort of qualms about, you know, what they want. They want something, they tell you. They don't want it, they tell you. 𝗚𝗏𝗡 and Piglet, yeah, those are two of my role models in life, I would say. Although, you know, there might be a bit of a Eeyore or owl or rabbit in there somewhere too. So that was me, and that was the original little book. And I checked on Google, and it's still the same cover and everything. It hasn't changed in about 40 years. How about that? Okay, so if anyone has any comments or questions, I would love to see them, because I would like to answer questions and hear your opinions, as well as me just talking on. So tell me which of these photographs you like the best so far. That would be really nice to know. There's a couple more. That was this is Kathy, who is an alumni from my photo classes, and she did this picture of red. This is red from last week's theme. And as very often happens, this reminded me of one of my photographs, and this will happen to you as well. If you create regularly, you will create this image bank of memories. What a wonderful thing! You know, we're all gonna disappear one day, and isn't it nice to be making memories every single day? And she reminded me of this. So it's not one-upmanship or anything like that. It's just pure joy that I also shared. And she's in the car. She saw these lovely red lights, and she captured it. Good for her. And this was me. This is me. Where am I? Can you guess? You probably can. It's on the Champs-Élysées, driving up to the Arc de Triomphe some years ago, on, I don't know, maybe it's Christmas Eve. I can't remember, actually. I can't even remember. And yet, okay, I simplified it pretty seriously. You know, there's something you sometimes spot things that you haven't seen. Often I spot things, cool things in the photograph when I get home. I look at them later and I think, oh my God, that's amazing. There was some sort of something in the photograph that is really clever or cool that I didn't notice when I took it. In this case, it took me months to look down from the Arc de Triomphe, from all those red lights, from this blue sky, and to look down into the bonnet here, or the hood, if you're American. And what did I see? I saw a reflection of the Arc de Triomphe in the hood, in the bonnet, and the lights and the sky surrounded with another little red line. How cool is that? So there's actually, you know, I tell people about reflections. I tell people to have repetition, and I didn't even spot it myself. And there it is. Fantastic. Just makes the photograph that much richer. Wondering, by the way, who Facebook user is. I've got, hi Seb, it's Sab, but I wonder who this is. Maybe you can tell me. We have a wonderful memory photograph coming up. Here it is. This is from Rob. This is just so cool. And this again reminded me of one of my photographs. And if these remind you of your photographs, let me know. So this is Rob, and he gave us a whole story about the crew and the boat. And this is actually a rescue boat. It rescues other model boats that have run out of wind on a local lake. So what is he saying? I wanted a pond pic of the crew, but winter has our ponds frozen thick. Yeah, I think Rob is in a very cold part of the country, way up in the north of the States, I think. Don't think you're actually Canadian. Might be wrong. I spent too many years building this radio-controlled tugboat named Ursa Minor. Ursa, that means bear, doesn't it? Little Bear Towing Company. Paddington Bear is a hit with kids of all ages at the pond. And he mans the working water cannon. Children squeal with delight when Paddington squirts them. How old are you, Rob? How old are you? I know you get bored a little bit in your cubicle, so I can see that this is where you let out all your creativity. And Paddington arrived here in Minnesota via Royal Air Mail from London, from deepest, darkest London. How about that? A surprise cost to me. I'm not quite sure what that means. This is Dorothy saying, I vote for Rob's picture with bears on the boat. There you go, Rob, you've got a fan. And as I said, as I tend to do, hang on a second, there's another picture from Rob there. No, non-current photo from last summer. Oh, this is the boat again. Can we get that bigger? Yeah, there's Paddington. And I have developed a new special relationship with Paddington recently. Might sound strange, but it's true. So, first of all, this is a photograph that Rob made me think of. This, I'm very fond of this photograph. This was taken way before I started my current project, which is on year 6 now. In Luxembourg Gardens, and I think Rob mentions Luxembourg Gardens in Paris somewhere. And it's a round pond, very famous gardens. You know, some classic photography has been taken there. And they have a boat pond, and they hire out these really splendid little sailboats, which go back and forth across the pond. And the kids have long sticks if they want to try and grab them. And I just caught this picture of this little girl. I feel that she's really proud of her boat. You know, it's really big. It's almost bigger than her, and she's carrying it off to the lake to sail it. And it's Portuguese. Each of the boats in the 𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏 has a nationality, and this one is Portuguese. Not only are the sails Portuguese colours, red and green, but it's got the Portuguese flag as well. So, you know, every time you post a picture, it normally reminds me of one of mine. And that is wonderful, because we need to have our memories stimulated, and we need to be reminded of our own memories. I don't know if you've had this phenomenon where you can be somewhere, something triggers a memory. Could be, often it's a smell or a place or a sound, or sometimes it's no reason at all, and a memory comes and it doesn't seem to be related to anything much. Imagine how many memories will never be triggered and that you will never bring back again. It's almost tragic. So I love it when somebody posts a photograph and it makes me think of one of mine that I had forgotten. Now I'm enjoying this again, and hopefully you are as well. So this is why my little formula is create, share, learn. Without sharing what you've created, for me, that's the cycle is not complete. This is my new project with Paddington. Just have a look at this. I'm going to blow my nose. Have a look at this and see what you think is going on here. What is my new project? Can you guess? Answers in the chat, please. Anyone writing anything? What do you think the story of this is? Well, I'll tell you the story. The story is, I recently rediscovered the Lake District, which is in the north of the UK. No, sorry, the north of England. And it's a wonderful place. It's called the Lake District because it's got a lot of lakes and mountains. And in the past, when I was a kid, when I was a late teenager, actually, I discovered this area and climbed up a few mountains. And then other things happened. I sort of, left the UK, and that was over 25 years ago. And then suddenly my parents, who had been living in the north of London for almost all their adult life, since we migrated south, they said, we go on holiday to the Lake District every year, and it's a pain. They don't travel well. Why don't we live in the Lake District? So here it is, you see, this is the UK. This is the Lake District. And now I can go and visit them when I want and have holidays there. And when I was there, I rediscovered my love for the Lake District, and I thought, why don't I have a second place that I'm obsessed with creatively? So I started a new blog, a new series, and it's called Lakeland Chronicles. And I decided that I needed mascots, because that's what people do. They have mascots. They try to climb up as many mountains as they can, and they take a stupid photograph of themselves with their mascot or mascots at the top. So I thought, I want to do that. I want to have some of that. So I chose the Eiffel Tower, which I'm calling Eiffi. I know it's a bit, and I needed one. Well, I didn't know what I was going. I had in mind a pink or purple fluffy one, but in retrospect, I'm quite glad I didn't find a pink fluffy one, because I found one which is incredibly French. Not only is it the colours of the French flag, but it's the Eiffel Tower. So how about that? And it's got a cute smile. So this Eiffel Tower is going to accompany me to the top of all of the mountains in the Lake District, Monsieur Dame. And so is Paddington. Because I thought, well, that's the French thing, but what about the English thing, the British thing? And when I got to not on Waterloo Station, that was a long time ago. When I got to King's Cross and Pancras, I saw a whole row of Paddingtons, and I thought, okay, Paddington's going to be it. Paddington is also going to accompany me to the top of all the mountains in the Lake District. So there it is. Okay, we've got a comment from Jean. Hello, Jean. I hope you're feeling better. That's a great shot of the little girl with the boat. Strong red and green. Yeah, you know, I got in really close. There's only one sort of stray hand that gets in the way. But apart from that, wonderful. Jean says, love Rob's boat with Paddington. Okay, Paddington. No, it's Paddington, Jean. Where is your childhood stories culture? I was putting comments in the wrong spot. Oh. So there may be some other comments elsewhere. Okay. I'm just going to see if I can see any other comments elsewhere. No, I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay. At least I can see your comments now. Dorothy says, now you can bring the Eiffel Tower wherever you are. That's it. Yes. So, you know, I thought I would never abandon Paris, never give up, never have a sort of be unfaithful to Lady Eiffel. But I am, but I'm not, because I'm still carrying on with Paris. I'm not going to leave Paris. But it's really exciting. Paris is a city. You know, it's got buildings, it's got pollution, it's got history, it's got monuments. The Lake District is kind of different. It's nature, it's hills, it's sheep, it's mud and rain, it's cold. So it's a completely different type of photography, and it stimulates me in a completely different way. So I'm pretty excited about that. Let me just quickly show you my new website if I can. You get all of me when you watch this. So what's it called? Lakeland Chronicles. Yeah, there it is. So if you want to, you know, have some more photo chat, but it's more about this lovely area of the country, then you can visit my Lakeland Chronicles. I call it Irreverent Illustrated Rambles, Real and Imagined, from the land of fells. Fells is the local name for hills, dales, and which is a local name for valleys, and, well, lakes. So you can see that I finally found something that inspires me photographically. I could go to London, I could go to Barcelona, I could go to any foreign city apart from Paris, and I sometimes didn't take my camera out of my pocket. It's very strange. It was almost like being unfaithful to Paris. I'd sold my creative soul to Paris, and I just couldn't get any enthusiasm to take photographs of any other places except as tourist snaps. I finally got to the Lake District, and as you can see, these photographs that I've taken are more artistic. They're not just snaps. So I'm really excited to have this sort of second passion now, which is the Lake District. I'll go and visit my parents 2 or 3 times a year and get some more shots. And also, yeah, I will tell you, there's a blog here. I called it moo. Moo is the sound that English cows make. In French, they say moo. In the States, I don't know. In Canada, I don't know. Maybe you can tell me. If you click on any of these, and you will get an article. This is sheep doing acrobatics. This is a photograph that is not taken by me. Can you guess who it was taken by? I was on top of this hill, and so was the sun. Both of them. So I said to my son, can you take a photograph of the sun in between my hands? I'm going to hold it. It's a bit hot, so don't take too long. Okay, I'm going to grab the sun. You take the photograph, and then I'll get rid of it. And he did a darn good job, I think. So that's the sun by the sun on top of a hill, which looks down onto my parents' place. It's one of the baby hills in the Lake District. Anyway, this isn't supposed to be about the Lake District. Actually, it could be, couldn't it? Because it's not a Paris show. It's a photo show. And what's great about the Lake District as well is most people, there's a lot, you can imagine there's a lot of blogs, photo blogs about the Lake District. It's stunningly beautiful. A lot of people go there. And they take pictures of mountains, you know. Here's another green hill. Oh, look, it's a green hill. Look, it's a hill that's green. And does this remind you of anything? If you were at the beginning of the show, my granddad, his 70 pictures of mountains that all look the same. That's what I'm talking about. So if you look at my pictures, you'll see that they don't look the same, do they? Because that's not what I'm into. And oh, so much history. This. Do you know what this is? This thing here, this red thing. Any ideas what this is? Jean says, "Oops, Paddington." Sorry. Yeah. Do you know why he's called Paddington, Jean? He's called Paddington because he was found at Paddington Station in the story, and he had a thing around his neck or something saying, "From deepest, darkest Peru, please look after this bear." Dorothy says, "Your ring poem is impressive." Thank you, Dorothy. It's one of the most deepest emotional ones that I've ever written. Yeah, for my mum. And what else? Yeah, this, for example. What's this about? It's a letterbox and it's got GR on it. What does that mean? Well, the latest ones, most of them have ER. There might be one or two now with CR, and this is GR. So ER is Elizabeth Regina, GR is George Rex, and there is probably at least one new one with CR on, which is Charles Rex, the new king. Rex and Regina are Latin for king and queen, respectively. So it's so cool to find this history lying around, you know, stuck into a dry stone wall. It's just, look at the detail on that. Look at the rust. Well, actually, it's not too much rust, but you know, the paint, it's been painted so many times probably, but it's still a lovely rich red. Beautiful. Anyway, let me hop back here. Do we still have, now I'm going to ask you about the things that you would like to do for next week's. What would you like next week's theme to be? I'll just ask you that again in a second. Chugging through here. I think there's still more to go. That was me, a little video there. Dorothy said that one of her special items is her computer. Isn't it funny? You know, you wouldn't think of it. It doesn't sound particularly sort of romantic, nostalgic, etc. But boy, oh boy, I don't know what my life would be like without computers. I started studying computers in 1983 or something like that. So I worry about kids today who don't know what life is like without the internet or without a smartphone. But having said that, I've had a computer keyboard under my fingers from the beginning of my teens, actually. So, you know, I'm not such I can't really say that my life was pure and unspoilt by technology. Well, it was until about the age of 12 or 13 when the school offered the first computer class. Up until then, it was a different era, that's for sure. So thank you, Dorothy. That's a beautiful shot. I love it. You also did some crazy shots, I think. I don't think you put them here. A whole bunch of shots with you making funny faces, which is cool. And you've got a big painting behind you. That's a lovely photograph, Dorothy. Thank you. Rob hasn't been online too much recently, so this is in response to my live video. This reminds me of a Modigliani picture, but it's only a snapshot of the floor next to me, of a bag lying there. And it has been well and truly Thomisified. I love your logo. It's so subtle, but it's so cool with the TR. I recommend everybody put their name on their photographs. You should be proud of them. You should think that your photographs are amazing. It doesn't matter if they are or not, if anyone thinks they are or everyone thinks they doesn't. It doesn't matter. Love your photographs. I've got an article coming out about this, loving your work. Otherwise, why bother doing it? Okay, I think we're more or less at the end of those. These are the red ones. I'm not sure if this one squeezed in last time. Bear's photo. She puts her name there, you see. Wonderful, and she chooses the color. Okay, I think that's the red ones. All right, enough of that. So, how are you doing so far? Tell me what's going on in your world. Thanks for watching, by the way. Now take part. I'd like a message from all of you saying what's the most fun thing that's happened to you this week. Could be photographically or just anything at all. Something nice that's happened to you this week. I've got Jean is saying my special items are pretty much things my kids created. Yeah, well, great. No comment. No more comment needed. He says, what program do you use for your signature? Are you talking? Who are you talking to, Dorothy? Because me, what do I do? Well, let me show you a photograph with the signature and see if this is one you mean. This is today's photograph, and you can't see it. Okay, so this Dorothy is my signature on today's photograph, and it's just a font. You know, I use GIMP, which is like the free Photoshop, and I just chose a font, wrote my name in it, and turned it around to fit the photograph. I'm not sure. Maybe you're asking Thomas. So I'm not sure, Dorothy. So let me show you a few of my recent photographs as we chug through this. By the way, let me just go back to the poll and remind you. By the way, could you suggest some new things? Make big lists of all the possible themes we can have, and each week I will let you choose from 3 or 4, and then we choose. But if you make a suggestion, it'll be retained for the next time, and it won't be lost. So, can you please vote on this? Birds, windows, or wheels? Those are the options. The poll is in the group. Go for it. I would love to know what you think. Let me quickly show you where I am in my photographs at the moment. That was last. This is the current chapter. You see, I don't even have the grids yet. From the 7th to the 15th February. A photograph every day. Do you take a photograph every day? Do you publish it? Great. I think most of you do, actually. And most of you have done my photo masterclass. Maybe that's why. So this is the grid I'm working on at the moment. What can I say about it? Well, why don't you tell me which ones you like and why? That would be nice, whilst I'm rambling about it. So you can see I've got a kind of Paris statue theme going here. Top left is this lion with a kid and the Eiffel Tower. I'm building up my series of Eiffel Tower photographs. One of my challenges is to take pictures of the Eiffel Tower as often as I can through my life, and none of them are allowed to be anything like any of the others. It's a great challenge. Choose something that is quite iconic near where you are and do the same thing. It's a really satisfying challenge. You see the color of the sky here, and let me show you another one. This one here. You can see also the color of the sky is quite similar. Well, yes, I sabified it, like I played around with it, but the sky was already multicolored. It was much more subtle than this, but there were hints of gray, hints of blue, hints of purple, hints of pinky yellow. And you know, if you play around with the apps, you can really bring that out. I've got one which is just ridiculously pink and purple. So I didn't go with that. But I went with this one because the sky is just crazily amazing enough to be just incredible, but it's not so ridiculous like the one that I've got, which is bright pink. I wonder if I can find the one that's bright pink. Maybe I'll find it another time. So this was another example where I had to ask, which one do you think is the best? And this was what I was advised, and I went with it. I have to say, I signed this. The version I put here, I signed it with my own signature here. I'm writing an article which will be coming out maybe on lazypig.com. I'm not sure. And it was about loving your photographs. Fall in love with your photographs. Think that your photographs are amazing. Because I looked at this. It's very simple. You know, 1 million, possibly 1 billion people have taken photographs of this lamp thing on the Alexander III bridge. Probably a number bigger than billions have taken pictures of the Eiffel Tower, etc. But I am stunned by this photograph. When I'm stunned by a photograph, it doesn't matter who took it, it's irrelevant. I'm absolutely stunned by the beauty of this photograph. It takes my breath away, and it's irrelevant that I took it. I would be exactly the same for somebody else's that takes my breath away. But how cool is that, to take photographs when you've taken them and you love them, look at them from the point of view of somebody else and just enjoy your work. Love what you do. Don't worry about anybody else. Anybody else's opinion is utterly irrelevant. It can be nice if other people like them, but what about if they don't? Are you going to get upset about it? Not worth it. Love your photographs. I love the photographs that you contribute in the group, and I really hope you do too. There's this strange phenomenon that a lot of photographers have, and that is to make excuses for their photographs as quickly as possible. Sometimes it's the first line when they post it. They say something like, "I'm sorry about the background here, but," or "This isn't really quite as good as I meant it to be, but," or "The conditions were far from perfect, but." So they get their excuse in. They criticize their own photograph first, and then they say, "But you know, I quite like this." It's very interesting. You know, we can ask ourselves why we do that. I do it as well, and I catch myself and I think, hang on a second, what was the point of immediately criticizing my photograph? I obviously like it, otherwise I wouldn't bother putting it in the group. So it's some sort of protection mechanism, just in case somebody else said they didn't like it. We've already said that, so they're actually agreeing with us. So, you know, it's this weird sort of thing. But I want you to be proud of your photographs. I want you to absolutely love your photographs. And if you love them, they're lovable. And lots of other people will love them too. So I could go on forever saying how much I love this photograph. It's crazy. I love the line that goes down the side here. It goes down the side of the lamp, these two lamps. It hits the top of the Eiffel Tower and it hits the top of the pointy building further down, which is pretty cool. You've got this huge big lump in the top left, and it's balanced by the much finer pointy ones in the bottom right. And the tiny pointy one is almost an exact repetition of the Eiffel Tower, strangely enough, which is really weird. But there it is. You know, how could that happen? There's even a tiny little French flag in the bottom there to tell you, you know, another hint of where you are. And also, well, need I tell you what I like about this photograph as well? You remember the one that I talked about, the clock tower, Big Ben's little brother, 𝗚𝗏, and the birds. Well, here are my birds. They're very, very small, and yet without them, I probably wouldn't even be saying that I love this photograph. However amazing the composition, the sky, the repetition of blah blah blah. There's something about the birds. One is slightly above the other, off to the left. They're nicely positioned in the sky. They're going past the Eiffel Tower, maybe towards the smaller one. And there's something about them that is evocative. There's something about it. There's something about it to such an extent that I wrote a poem. I certainly believe that you shouldn't draw lines between the different artistic or creative things you do. Why bother doing that? You can, if you want. You can say, I just write poems, or I'm just a photographer. You can, but I think everything spills into everything else. I think our lives are seamless. You know, it's like the work play dichotomy, or you know, whatever. Getting a right work personal life balance. I'm not convinced about that. I think we're there all the time, and if possible, try to unify everything that goes to make up you, and not worry about it. So anyway, let me read this. Why not? Mind the tower. First time I'm reading this live. Here we go. Pebble-dashed sky, painterly lie. The gulls are giving up the ghost, off to a wee place up the coast, where salmon leap and the brooks run clear, and trout don't drown in cans of beer, and cars don't scare the grazing deer, and folks are far and nature's near. I miss those places more than most, and though this town's my chosen host, I'd gladly race Persephone's pigeon, tracing shrouds through mottled clouds. Upon your wings I'll fly. So there you go. I got a poem out of it as well. I think the ones that touch me most deeply, I don't want to write, you know, some historical blah blah. I want to do something a little bit more artistic with them. Got a comment here. Dorothy says, I used to use Snapseed with my logo, but the picture became dark and it was a project to put it in the right place. Yeah. I mean, Snapseed, you can do logos. I think Bear uses logo on Snapseed, but there might be other ways. There are other ways, of course. Yeah. I guess it depends if you want to change it each time. Like change the color, change the size, change the position, maybe change the orientation, like I did on this one. You see, I've got 3 versions and they sit in the same image file. I can literally, I open an image and they've already got the 3 signatures. One is this way, one is the other way on the other side, facing the other way, and one is along the bottom. And I just make visible or invisible the one I want, and then I move it slightly. That's GIMP, the free sort of Photoshop thing. Okay, yeah. And Jean says, love the middle shot with the lamppost. Beautiful sky color. Tower in the distance and another similar structure in the distance, plus the 2 birds in the sky. Stunning shot. I'll pay you later, Jean. And maybe 1 or 2 other comments as we move up to the top of the hour. 5 more minutes. So, as I said, this is my latest. This was for the red theme, and it's really strange. As soon as you have a theme in mind, and last week it was red, suddenly you're walking around town and you see things where there's predominantly red, and there it was. That's Leo, my boy, with a poster for an evening called La Nuit de la Déprime, which means misery night or depression night. I'm not sure if it's tongue-in-cheek or not, but a bunch of famous French singers get together and sing their most miserable songs for everybody's greater sadness, and proceeds go to an animal charity. That's kind of funny. I like the quote. It says, "À quoi sert de courir après le bonheur alors que la déprime est à portée de main?" So what's the point in running after happiness when misery is just around the corner, or something like that. This could have gone in the red thing, but it didn't. Absolute moving very, very much towards impressionism. Yeah, you could almost imagine this as one of Turner's sunsets or Monet's work, don't you think? Really, it's even been distorted, although you might not be able to see how. And every now and then I like to do this. You know, it's a feeling of Paris. People who know Paris will know that this is the train from maybe line 6 or something. They'll know that this is one of those stations. There's a reflection of the train on the right. It gives a feeling. I'm not saying it's, I enjoy it. I like looking at it. I'm not saying it's, I'm thinking this is a stunning one, and this isn't really me making an excuse for it, like criticizing it before anyone else does. I'm just saying, for me, it's a fun one. And every now and then I like to throw in something that's a bit sort of left field, not what people are expecting. You know, you're not going to identify which station it is. I'm not going to tell you the history of some building. It's literally my crazy life in Paris. Well, it's not even that crazy, but seen through a lens it is. And enough of those years were, you know, bleary, that this, you know, this does have a fair amount of meaning to it. 1 or 2 more maybe. This one is hasn't been published yet, but I'll show you anyway. The Game, Escape If You Can, and I've written a big text to go with that. That's about escape games, but I love it when you grab something. I just, you know, I was in a bar or something, and on the counter were adverts for these escape games called The Game. So I grabbed one. I've got a new photograph for my creative disintegration self-portrait series. What else? This one. This is a curiosity of Paris. there's a little creature at the base of this statue which you can't see unless it's winter, because you see the trees on the right, they don't have any leaves. When they don't have leaves, you can look through those branches from a distance, and right at the bottom is a tiny little tortoise. And we're not really quite sure why, but it was discovered not so long ago when they had to move this statue from I think it's Cours Napoleon, for the Louvre. They wanted to build this big pyramid, so he had to go. And they noticed that there was this little tortoise. It was built by an American. It was created by an American, the statue, and he took ages, really years and years, to finish the thing. So the theory, one idea is that he was making fun of himself by putting a tortoise there, like a wink to how slow he had actually been in creating it. So that was funny. All right, moving towards the end. Let me know what you think is your final favorite shot from the personal photos shot, from the special item shots. Let's choose a new one, shall we? There's the kamikaze pigeon as well. I'll show you one more here. This one, I've been watching a series on Netflix or something called 1899. Really weird. And this reminded me of it. It's actually a mural painted on the 𝗤𝗓𝗏 station outside wall. And this series, I don't know if you've seen it, 1899, it hasn't been renewed. It was just too obscure and too bizarre. But and everybody's spoken about 5 languages. But it started off as a sort of mysterious adventure at sea. Then it turned into a kind of fantasy horror thing, and then it finished in sci-fi. So, you know, go figure. And this image reminded me of that, with this guy going past with a bit of the sea coming out of his blue bin there. I wanted to include this top bit because that's part of the architecture of the station, almost in the Eiffel Tower style. Don't have time to go back to these ones, but I will just tell you one other thing, and that is I was so excited to get this one. I thought I knew all of the Wallace fountains in Paris. Most of them are green, but some of them aren't. And I thought I'd got all the ones that weren't green. So the Wallace fountains, by this guy called Richard Wallace, a philanthropist, and he donated, or the funds at least, to make drinking fountains for the inhabitants of Paris when they didn't have clean drinking water. So these things are all over. It's 4 caryatids, 4 ladies holding up the roof, and in the middle there's a stream of water. They're iconic, you know, they're almost as iconic as the typical Art Nouveau Paris metro stations. There's a crazy yellow one, bright yellow. There's a violent pink one. There's a red one in Chinatown. There's a grey one on the outskirts. There's a white one in 𝗚𝗏, which is a town just outside where I used to live. And am I missing anything? Yellow, pink. And I thought, okay, I haven't seen an orange one. What have we got? The colours of the rainbow. So red, yes. Orange, no. Green, lots of them, most of them. Blue, well. I'm going to think of blue, purple, yellow. Yeah, so I thought I knew them all. And I suddenly, very recently, I've been here for 30 years, and I suddenly, you know, looking actively for this sort of thing. Maybe I'd seen it before and I forgot about it, but I saw it recently and I thought, oh my God, there's a blue one, a bright blue one, amazing. I had even recently done a grid of 9 images where I thought I had all of the colors. So, you know, can you imagine that I get really excited about seeing a bunch of blue painted ladies? Well, I do. And Klein isn't anywhere to be seen. So there it is. Very excited to get that one. Oh, actually, I'll tell you about this as well. Well, this is from the window of a Burger King. Know where you are when you're in Paris? Yeah, you do. This is a decoration in a window of the building opposite the Burger King. Fair enough. And this one is pretty crazy too. What are we looking at here? We're looking at the famous Paris sinking building. They built it and they didn't realize it was on swampy ground. And little by little, it sunk into the ground. And people decided to leave it there because it was too expensive at the time to dismantle it. So it's sunk into the ground like this. They've left it. It's uninhabited, of course. No, I'm joking. It's not the building that's at a weird angle. Can you guess what it is? This is, if you go to Montmartre, up the hill towards Sacré-Cœur, and you kind of twist your brain in a certain way, you will be able to get exactly the same photograph. All you have to do is look for this building behind some grass and make the grass horizontal. And it's such a cool photograph. It's so amazing because your brain, there are some strong sort of guidelines in your brain to help you, like, you know, get on with life and not fall over and that sort of thing. One of them is ground. To be reasonably safe, ground is normally horizontal. So you look at this and you think, well, there's the ground, the horizon, horizontal, normal. Oh, what the hell is happening to the building? Because, you know, of course, if you tilt your head about 30 degrees to the left, you see what it really looks like. The building is, it's okay, folks. No one's in danger. And the grass is at this crazy 45-degree angle, practically. Okay, that is it. What are we going to choose? We're going to say which ones we like, which ones our favorites here. So I love the clock. Oh, it's so difficult, isn't it? So difficult to choose one. So let me know any last comments on which ones you like. Here are the clocks, Dorothy's clocks. Here are this one is so sweet. I do love it because it's cute. It's a lovely way to arrange memories. Maybe I'll go with that one. Ooh. And that's mine. And Rob's boat one is so cool as well. It's so cute. I might go with the boat one as well because of Paddington. You know, any grown man that has a certain obsession with a toy soft bear has got to be all right in my mind. So Rob will choose that one as a great one. And sorry, Dorothy, I went past you very quickly there. There was one other one that really grabbed my attention. What was it? I'm not sure where it's gone. How have I lost them? The phones. I think the phones are great. You know, fancy collecting. I think a lot of people have phones, so I'm going to go with the phones as a really cool nostalgia piece. And Jean's photograph as well. You know, it's kind of pointless to say that there are winners. There aren't winners. I just thank you all for contributing. Thomas, where are you? Where have you been, man? We're waiting for you. And then let me just get the vote. Who are we going to go with? So the choice is between birds, windows, and wheels. I will maybe put this out somewhere, see if I've got any more. I haven't actually voted yet, but even if I do, I won't win. It looks like wheels is by far. Okay. So we've got wheels at 75%, birds 25%. So we'll go with wheels. That will be the theme for the coming week. Be as inventive as you can and see what you can come up with. Remember, to get a photograph that looks nothing like a typical snap, do anything except what a normal snapper does, and that is oh look, a wheel. Click. That's your crappy tourist snap. Don't do that. Do anything else. Up, down, twist it, throw it, anything you like. And I can't wait to see what you come up with on that theme. So we are done. It's over an hour. Thank you for sticking with me. I really appreciate it. I enjoy doing these. It's nice to get back into them. And I look forward to seeing your wheels photos. So now I have to think of one. I've got an example of one that I can put, and it is that row of bikes going into the distance. So I'll drag that one out and put it as an example. So thanks for watching. Happy snapping. Get well, people who aren't well. Stay well, people who are well. And talk to you again soon. Thank you for the the thumbs up. Thank you for the hearts. Claire, hello Claire. Claire's a student of mine and she's watching. Nice to have you here, Claire. Claire, you can join in the photo competition if you want. I know you love taking photographs, so let's see some photos from you soon, Claire. Okay, bye everyone. Take care and see you again soon. Bye for now. Thank you, Jean. Thank you.